Hello everybody, Hassan here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about our last video yesterday on Editas data that was published yesterday in a conference, and lots of controversy about it. There's one segment of the scientists, biotech investors, and so on that sort of support the data, are really happy to see what happened yesterday with Editas. But then there's another segment that's a little bit more bearish, a little more concern, a little some controversy there. I saw a lot of controversy, especially on Reddit and Twitter. So we'll talk about that. Before we do that, guys, you guys know the drill. Like this video, smash that like button, destroy that like button, really helps this channel, the YouTube algorithms. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Really does help the channel. Channel is growing really fast, guys. Yesterday's video got well over 700 views and it's been less than 24 hours. So I'm really happy about the progress. Let's keep the support and the momentum going. Okay, so last video I talked about how I was a little bit disappointed about how the public markets reacted to Editas, the company, as they released data, and there was no significant negative data that could suggest a minus 20% decline. Now, a lot of comments in that video, a lot of things has happened since, and in hindsight, perhaps waiting a few hours before making that video could have been a good idea as well. Has several threads on Twitter, on Reddit, sort of appeared, taking both sides, right? But it is what it is. This is what we do in this channel. We try to cover all the information for you guys. A lot of you guys are busy in your lives, so that's what we do in this channel, right? We try to cut the chase. You just give you the raw data there, and then we sort of analyze it and process it as information goes through, right? So Yair Einhorn here, he posted a thread here, and I want to go over this thread. So we'll first look at the bullish signs, right? The bullish side of Editas, and then we'll look at the bearish side that sort of appeared yesterday on Editas data, right? So as promised, here are my thoughts about Editas readout today. I have participated in a webinar. Personal load, I failed to understand the huge disappointment regarding Editas data, which seems to me exceptions were unrealistic. That's what we talked about, right? A lot of the public markets is completely disconnected, right? That was my thesis in yesterday's video anyways. Since the webinar was an hour long, I couldn't even if I wanted to cover all the issues presented, but I'll do my best to cover the crucial point: observation, safety, efficiency, visual acuity test, summary, and my own personal conclusion. Observation, the most important finding is Edit 101, in my opinion, was the lack of toxicities or serious adverse events in all 6 patients. We already talked about it in the last video. I won't dabble into too much here. Here, safety here, since Editas is only the second trial which involved in vivo gene editing, huge emphasis was put on safety issues. So no big issues here. Mild inflammation has been reported, but that has to do with subretinal surgery as well-known side effects. So nothing surprising here, right? So again, everything we covered last video. According to the Prof peers, it takes between 3 to 6 months to see treatment efficiency, which means that the follow-up of all 6 patients will be critical for measuring efficiency. So far, 2 out of 3 patients from mid-cohort showed clinical signs of visual improvement, right? So a lot of debate on this, right? What is actual visual improvement? How do you even measure it, right? I think that was a big question I've seen in yesterday's, in several people's tweets. But the main upside, in my opinion, is the brilliant use of visual acuity test, VAT. Not many are aware that the main issue behind ocular recent failure is that FDA was insisting on all 15 letters improvement and considering BCVA as the only relevant test, right? So let's click on this here. So this is quite interesting, right? This is something from the FDA, right? FDA is insisting on 15 letters improvement, so they're Editas sort of showed that slide in their presentation yesterday. We sort of briefly covered really fast, but it looks like we got more information here, so that's pretty cool from here. As written before, the only gene therapy approved by the FDA is Luxturna. The innovative thing is the use of visual navigation courses, which is basically the course that a patient needs to navigate in different levels, right? Since Luxturna relying on VNC is approved by President, FDA has made very clear decision relying on this test rather than the only one on BCVA, right? So there are some indications that what the FDA is sort of expecting because of what Luxturna are doing, right? So I think this is what the whole gene therapy comparison here is being done here compared to what Editas is trying to do with gene editing. So in conclusion, I'll just say the clinical trials are very complicated, especially when they involve new technologies as gene editing. The data regarding both safety and efficiency is promising. It's true that we are still a long way to go, right? So again, it's something really important to mention. No news is good news, right? This is a field where you don't want news, right? You don't want news. Like news is bad, right? News means there's negative data. News means something went wrong, right? You don't want news. That's the saying, right? No news is good news. So to me, I think what Yair is trying to cover here is the facts of what the presentation was all about, and that we shouldn't be taking things out of context. We should just be focusing on what is the FDA focusing on compared to the alternative with gene therapy and so on. Let's jump on another thread here from this I found it, and the Brad Lunkar here, they said, edited data came in exactly what you expect from a few patients at mid-dose. Hence, it could work, but not enough to give you confidence that it will work. In other words, a borderline non-event that won't make anyone happy. And that is sort of an explanation as to why the company was down 20% yesterday. Nat Haruni said, patient is happy, Brad. Don't be quick to judge the data. Ask the patients. This was one of the patients, Carlene here, that sort of had the testimonials to, it's nice, I don't scare people, I don't have as many bruises on my body. So basically saying that gene editing here is something that they weren't too negative about, and things are looking good. That's just a testimonial. That was just one of the testimonials, but that's what Haruni here is trying to say, right? And then you have the other side, right? Edit data is a flaw. One patient is getting better, one is the same, one is the worst. And a lot of people are saying that the one that is getting better could be just, a placebo effect, could be something unrelated to the actual outcome that Editas is trying to achieve with their gene editing technology, right? With in vivo approach. And then Professor Uranov, which we covered his latest paper a few months ago, he said, I strongly respectfully disagree. No immune response so far. AAV Cas9 is eye safe to date. Modest response in mid-dose, advancing to PADS, right? PADS. This is substantial for Editas and for the field, right? And then some people are taking the Euro 2 kind. Editas AAV for delivery CRISPR looks plagued by the same problems of AAV delivery in general. So this is the viral deliveries, which obviously are known to be not good. There are needs for alternatives, but it's like that's what I love about ARK Invest interview with Dr. Liu, right? It's like the plane analogy. Yeah, planes burn so much fuel, right? It's so bad for the environment, but do we really have a choice right now, right? Do we even have a choice in the upcoming decade? I think that's the question here. And Dr. Liu mentioned that there are scientists working on it, but this will take time, right? And then our infamous biotech 2K1 user, which we've obviously covered his perspective on several companies, and for Editas, actually, if you recall, I think it was part 1 of our 3-video series, they were talking about Editas, and they had several news about Editas, right? So people should look really at the actual safety data before parenting a company on safety, right? So let's take a look of what is going on here. So what they're saying here, biotech, is that the data of safety is not that safe as people claim it to be. Yikes, that on top is a piss poor efficiency. They are sure have a winner, okay? Yeah, so I would definitely need a little more time to look at some of these images here, some of the data, but basically biotech is pushing back on Yair and on other users, Haruni and so on, saying that, hey, you need to look at the safety data instead of just claiming they're safe, right? This doesn't look like safe, right? That's what they're saying. And then they retweeted here from a tweet here saying, Editas information on the left from the slides was waiting for a conference call, hoping they would include in the materials. Hopefully they sell slides. So it looks like, they didn't really include some of the information they wanted. This is the safety data again. I'm curious to have more information on this. I'll do my due diligence the upcoming hours here to look more further into that, ask a few individuals here and there. But from Editas call. There's a lot of inter-patient variability. That means the patient one that did respond was probably out of luck and placebo effect. No way to biopsy the eye to prove any editing has occurred. That means they can mislead investors a lot longer. Right, and the final tweet here from Biotech here that I'll cover is ITON management was shady with the data and side effects. They tried with the programs of court of public opinion with NPR instead of real data of science. I think investors are falling for a real sham here. The data was horrendous with no real evidence of editing. So lots of controversy, guys. Lots of controversy. I try to be, reasonable. I try to be rational. I will need a little bit more time. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Leave me comments below, input, feedback, bottom video. I did not want to make this video long. It's already over 10 minutes here, but I did want to present both sides, right? So last video yesterday, I sort of presented my opinion that, being down minus 20% is our overreaction. Today's video, I want to sort of double down on that overreaction from several individuals, but also talk about the other side, right? The people that are sort of supporting basically a decline of that sort, right? Basically saying, hey, the safety data is not what they seem to be. It's not what they're claiming to be. It's not as safe as they claim to be. The one patient that was improved could be a placebo effect. This could be way too early for us to say that it was gene editing's outcome here to improve that data client, data patient. But again, you have to do your own research, guys. This is why this space is tricky. This is why it's a very, very risky space. But it's amazing when you do your own research, you stick with your conviction, you hold it for long term. And we strongly believe CRISPR has a future here. And the last note I will make here before I end this video, this last what I will say, and I do want to mention this, is I saw there was this journalist on Twitter stating that they didn't get this data. The apparently journalists, legacy media are supposed to be getting. That's like the norm. It's not the law. It's not a regulation, but it's the norm that they can get early data with respect to keeping that data safe from the public up until the company announces the data. And that's because in reality, these journalists, they can sort of publish their stories, write their articles, do their videos once the data is out to the public. Now, my opinion on this is that I don't understand why legacy media journalism should have an advantage over us creators, right? Like me, I create these videos. I make these videos based on what I see online. Once data is released, I build my conviction and I build my research and I sort of demonstrate that, just like what we did today, right? There are some things I don't know, there's some things I know, and I learn on the spot. I don't understand why other media people, legacy media, need to have that self-entitlement to having that data before it is released to the public, right? I think we have to level out the playing field, right? Maybe 20, 30 years ago when the internet wasn't that popular, wasn't even around for most people, that made sense, right? You want people to have the highest coverage, the media coverage and so on with legacy media on TV, televisions, medium, radios, and so on. But now in today, everybody can tweet, everybody can post on Reddit, everybody can post on YouTube videos. Make the data public to the world at the same time and give the level out the playing field. No one gets an advantage to cover the story. Everyone gets the same N equals to 0 time start, and then we go from there. That's my opinion. Curious to see what you guys think. I know a lot of you guys have some opinions on that too. Again, this is unrelated to the reaction of Editas data, whether that's bullish or bearish. But I did want to mention that legacy media here is trying to push a negative narrative against Editas management for not releasing data to these journalists before the data was released yesterday morning. But to me, I think that's completely fine. I think the norm should be like that. I don't think legacy media should have a pre-access, early access, regardless of their agreement, regardless of the norms, regardless of what was done in the past. Now we have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have Reddit, we can level out the playing field. So we'll leave this video like this. Hopefully you guys appreciate this video. Lots of interesting thoughts here, lots of interesting things, lots of discussions going on. Curious to see what you guys think. Let's keep that momentum going. Do like this video if you liked it. Smash that like button, destroy it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And tomorrow video, we will make another video. I said today I will make the teledoc video, but just what was going on with Editas, I had to make an Editas video. But tomorrow, I promise I will make a teledoc video. Thank you for watching. Thank you.